Hey, this is Denise from LoomaHat.com, and in this video I want to show you how to make these friendship bracelets. And we're going to finish it off like this. I'm going to show you how to do that. You're going to need a spool loom. This one normally has pegs on the bottom. I just took them off to make life easier while we work with the smaller top portion that has 5 pegs. You need a measuring tape. Not vitally necessary, but makes things easier. You do need at least 4 floss. You can use 3, but it's gonna be much better if you use 4. I have 4 different colors just to make it easier for you to follow what I'm doing, but you could use whatever color combination works for you. Of course, you need a hook, your scissors, a yarn hook, a yarn needle, and if you want, not necessary, but it makes things easier, a crochet hook. I like to finish my bracelets nicely, so I use these beads. They have a 1/2 inch diameter opening, and I like to put some on the ends just because I don't want to see that knot by itself. And these are just really tiny ones that fit the 4 strands of floss. That's all your supplies. So put everything together and come back and let's make these friendship bracelets and give them to a friend. So you start by measuring your wrist. In my particular case, I have a 6-inch wrist, and for every inch that you measure out, you need to loom knit 6 rows. Okay, so just measure it out, multiply it by 6. That's how many rows you need to count. If, like me, you don't like to count, then just know that your loom is 3 inches in length. And the oddity about this particular project is that when you've loom knitted 3 inches worth of knitting, when you pull the bracelet off, you're going to need to stretch it. And when you do that, it's going to be twice the amount. So there are your 2 options. Either measure and multiply by 6 and count your rows out as you're knitting, or just measure out and know that the amount of knitting that you've done, you're going to multiply that by 2, and that's going to be your length. So that's 2 different ways of knowing how many rows you need. Okay, let's get to the knitting part. Start with about a 4-inch tail to allow you to work, and make a knot with your 4 strands together. You're going to work with them as if they were one. Okay, take that tail and put it in your loom so it doesn't mess you up and get you knitting it, and tighten. Sorry about that. Tighten your loop there, not too much, and then wrap the next 4. Okay, and what I do with these is I leave them like that, and I just pull on my string. Okay, now you have all 5 of them wrapped, and now instead of wrapping again, you're just gonna push them down. You have to push these down because you don't want to pull the wrong set. So you push them down so that there's some separation between your bottom and your top, and then just take the top one, and right from the front, you're going to wrap those 5 pegs. And then once all 5 of them have a bottom and a top, you're going to take this group and you're going to hold on to them that way, okay, with your back fingers. If you find a way that's more comfortable for you, then use it. This way seems to work pretty good for me. Now, in order to keep these 2 from getting combined, you can take your finger and hold on to this top one because you don't want it to go when you're bringing the bottom to the top. So hook those 4 bottom strands and you're going to bring them up. And you're doing this with this one because you want to secure your working yarn. You don't want it to get loose on you and then these 4 just go off. Okay, so now your yarn is secure. You're going to go to your next one, and again make sure that there is separation, and grab the bottom 4 and bring them over the top. And then you just keep doing that, and again see how you can get them confused. And this looks a little cumbersome because I'm going slower, so you can see what I'm doing, but as you get better at it, it goes a lot faster. Okay, so this is the 5th and last one for this row. Now you have 1 row. This row, by the way, is going to be pretty loose. Don't worry about it. I'm going to show you how to tighten it up. When you get ready to wrap again, go ahead and push everybody back down. Okay, see how easy they all push down? And tighten this so it doesn't come loose. And again, wrap those 5 pegs in the front, okay? And make sure that there's separation between the top and the bottom. And again, take your working yarn to the back, secure it with your fingers, put one there, and grab the bottom and come over the top. Now that I finished 1 row, and this is my 2nd row. All right, you tighten again and you let it loose, and you start doing this again, and just keep working on it. By the way, don't count that first row because like I said, that yarn is very loose and you're actually going to tuck it in. So when you're counting, don't count that first one. Okay, that's not one of your rows. That's just the starter. And keep going. Okay, and then I'm going to show you what we're going to do after we have all our rows. So I'll be back. Once you're done knitting, it should look like this, like almost like a flower. And for me, I know that I'm done because I've reached that bottom rim. And as you can see, this bottom part, which is those first 1 or 2 rows are loose, like I said before, and you have an opening right here. Okay, so at this point you have a decision that you can make, and that is, how do you want your bracelet to look? You can have this chain link type of knitting, or you can have this like snake chain look. And right now, if you were to just close this, this is what you get. If you want this, then you take this working yarn, this tail that you left here, and you get it through that hole and up to the front, and you basically are making the bracelet turn from the inside out. And how can you do this? Well, you can put a bobby pin on this right here and just feed the bobby pin through here to the top, or you could take, which for me is the easiest one, is to just take a crochet hook through there and then just grab this here, the tail, and just bring it in, right, like this, and then just pull it. It's not a really easy thing to do. It can be very tough. You're gonna have to pull a lot and you almost feel like you're gonna wreck the bracelet, but you won't. Don't worry about it. Just keep pulling until it comes inside out, and then you're gonna release this the same way you would if you hadn't turned it inside out. So I'm gonna show you now how to get your bracelet off the loom, but we're gonna do this one here, so I'm not gonna turn it inside out. Just remember that if you want to do that, you're just gonna take your tail, feed it through, and then pull your work inside out for this one. But in our particular case, that's not what we're doing. So I'm gonna show you how to close your work, okay? So I have my tail back down again like I had at the beginning, and now I want at least 4 inches of working yarn, and maybe a little more because I need to come around here in order to get this loose. So from here, which is halfway, I'm going to measure about 4 inches, which is about what this is, and I'm going to cut my work loose. And then you get your loom here, and you're going to take your yarn, and you could do it this way, or you could do it with a needle. I tend to do it this way because for me, I just like it. But I'm going to show you a couple of ways. So you could just feed it through like this if you want, or you can use your hook. You don't have to use that crochet needle, like this. And then just get your yarn and pull it through, right? Or you can just feed it through with your needle. You would have to thread your needle, and then in the same way you would feed it through here, and as you pull your yarn on the needle, it'll just lift the work off. So that's one way to do it. And this is going to work just like if you were loom knitting a hat. I don't know if you've loom knitted a hat before, but basically this is the same way you close a hat. It's the same way that you do with the bracelet. And you feed it through, and make sure you've done that with all 5 pegs so that you can get them loose. Here's the last one. Once you pull that through and gotten your yarn to feed through that last one, you are done, right? And there's your bracelet. And as you can tell, it looks really thick, but that's what I was saying. At this point, you see how that looks? In order to get it to look like this, you need to start pulling it. See there? And see how it looks here? And you're pulling it. And as you pull, this is getting longer. So instead of being wider, it's longer. See that? And you tighten this up here. And there's your open spot, and I'm going to show you now how to close that. Now that first part I told you was going to be really loose, and so here you see that the strings look really long and loose, and the way you're going to fix this is that you take your needle and thread it with one of the colors that you used to make your bracelet, and then there is an opening here, right? So just take all of those loose ones and push them into the hole like that. Okay, and once you've done that, just make sure that you keep your thread in the middle. So keep pushing them down, and once you have most of them inside, it'll look like this, right? And then you just take your needle with that you've threaded and bring it in from anywhere down at the bottom and bring it up towards the middle. And if you made a knot, don't worry about it, it'll get hidden in there. And then just start closing up that hole, okay? Don't worry about it looking absolutely perfect. It's not going to show very much, and you should only be somewhat concerned about it if you're not going to put a bead here to hide it. I am, so I don't worry too much. I just kind of want to neaten it up somewhat. It doesn't have to be a lot, and sometimes your needle gets a little stuck. It's okay. And so just keep closing it up like that. because the thread is the same color, it kind of gets hidden. Okay, so once you've done that, it's gonna look like this, where it's closed up. And at this point, if you want, you could just make a knot here and a knot here, and you're done. But in my particular case, where I want to put a bead here and one here because I just think it looks neater, once you finish sewing it up, you take your bead and go ahead and feed those 4 threads through your bead like such. And then what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to feed as much of this into the bead as you can. And you're going to do that by pulling on this string and then using your hook. And you're going to push that in there, okay? And you push with this. You're going to pull all that in there and then pull on this a little bit. Okay, and keep doing that until you have pushed in enough where you don't see any loose thread, and you feel like you've gotten enough of it in there, and you see some of it right here over the bead like such. Okay, and once you've gotten to that point where you see that top knot here, then you can either put some Elmer's glue, some regular Elmer's glue, or even better, you can put some, you can get a hot glue gun, and I know this sounds like an oxymoron, but a cool hot glue gun, there is such a thing, and just drop a couple of glue dots in there, and you won't have to worry about it. It'll never come out. So that's that part. And then all you're gonna do is get the little one and put this in, cut it really nice and neat and even. It's gonna make it easier for you to get it into the little one. Okay, make sure you get all 4 of them in there. Okay, and then to make sure that this one stays on, make a knot, and just to be extra careful, right, because you don't want it to come loose, go ahead and double knot it, and then you know that your little bead is not going to come loose. So put one knot over the other, and then your bead is secured. And then all you have to do is tie your bracelet. Now this is one way of making it. There's many other ways to finish it. I think this is the easiest one. And there's your friendship bracelet. Here's another way. Okay, this one's a little more detailed, so I like this one best because it's real easy to do. All right, there's your friendship bracelet, and I'll see you on the next project.